Tonight, we're taking you inside the heated congressional hearing where Secretary Kristi Noem faced tough questions about border security and the current state of U.S. immigration policy. We're breaking it down for you, helping you understand not just what was said, but why it matters and what it could mean for our country moving forward. If you want to stay informed on the latest political developments, hit that subscribe button now.
Well, I need a little help from a chair that respects the members of the committee. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
You pretty much secured the southern border, haven't you?
Yes, sir. The CBP,
And
president
that upsets some of my colleagues, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. They say you've done it the wrong way, haven't they? Mm-hmm. Could you answer that?
Yes, sir. They do say that.
Do you think they're upset because you supposedly did it the wrong way, or you think they're upset that you did it at all?
I think they're upset that by President Trump enforcing the law, it happened so quickly and successfully.
Yeah. Now, when President Biden came into office, the first thing he did was get rid of all of the things we were doing to stop people from coming into our country illegally, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, it was like The Price is Right. Come on down. Except he said, come on in. And most of my Democratic colleagues went along with that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they did.
In fact, they cheered him on, didn't they? Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
How many people do you think President Biden let into our country illegally? Just give me a ballpark figure.
Sir, we don't know for certain, but we believe it could be upwards to 20 million people that are illegally in this country.
So that's like adding 10 Nebraskas to our country, isn't it?
That's correct.
Why do you think President Biden and my Democratic colleagues did that? Do you think they believe in open borders?
I think they believed in open borders and letting people come into this country that would affect our society and criminals. Those other countries emptying out the worst of the worst, their mental institutions, their prisons came in here and jeopardized, and known terrorists.
Well, only one or two circumstances are possible, it seems to me. Either President Biden and the Democrats who supported him believe in open borders, or the people that President Biden put in charge of securing the border, you wouldn't trust to run a snowball stand. Right?
That is correct.
So nobody is that incompetent. So it has to be, they just believe in open borders, do they not?
Yes, because I know the people who were securing the border and they weren't allowed to do their job.
Do you think they believe that vetting people at the border is racist?
Yes, I do. I think by the way they allowed people in and granted them immediate parole status.
Do you think that President Biden and some of my Democratic colleagues, I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, Madam Secretary, thought of these foreign nationals in our country illegally as potential new voters?
I do, sir.
Okay. If you're an ordinary American and you oppose illegal immigration, but you support legal immigration, does that make you a racist?
No, sir. No, sir, not at all. It just means that you believe there should be a rule of law, and that's what America was built on.
And that's what you've been enforcing, right?
Exactly. We have been following the Constitution and the rule of law in this country.
And I want to be sure I understand, because there's been a lot of confusing testimony here. You've secured the border, have you not?
This administration has, yes, sir.
And some of my colleagues are upset with you.
Yes, sir.
And they say you did it wrong.
Yes, sir.
And do you agree with me that what they're really upset about is that you did it at all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to ask you a last question about our federal judiciary. I've said repeatedly that all of us has a moral and a civic obligation to follow federal orders, and I stand by that. But there have been a lot of national injunctions, universal injunctions issued to try to stop you from doing your job. Where were these judges when people were breaking the law and coming into our country illegally? Were any of them speaking up and issuing national injunctions against the Democrats?
I don't believe I can be specific about every single judge, but these judges that now are trying to stop us from enforcing our laws, I don't believe or recall them.
Can you
being
think,
vocal then.
Madam Secretary, of one single solitary federal judge who, when President Biden and my Democratic colleagues, not all of them, but many of them,
Gentleman's time has expired.
Secretary or Senator Murray went on over about 2 minutes, so I'm going to take a minute.
Senator Van Hollen just got shut down.
Yes,
right
if
on
you
the
can,
zeros.
if you can finish your question.
Can you recall one single solitary federal judge when President Biden and my Democratic colleagues were letting 20 million people come into the country illegally?
I don't recall.
Can you think of one
you.
single solitary judge
you.
that issued a national injunction
more than
to
one
stop
question.
them?
No, I can't recall one.
I can't either. If there weren't
you,
for
Senator
double
Kennedy.
standards
Madam
around
Chair.
here,
Okay.
Madam
there
And
wouldn't
so
be any
Senator Peters.
standards at all, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
Committee,
Thank
Madam
you,
Chair.
Senator Kennedy.
I'd-
Senator Peters.
Madam, let me just say, let's apply the rules fairly. Senator Van Hollen was asking tough questions, but was shut down pretty immediately when his time was expired. Can we at least have a commitment, Madam Chair, that senators on this committee will be allowed to submit questions for the record,
Absolutely.
and that you will
Yes.
Absolutely.
ask the secretary to answer those questions?
The questioning began with a direct point. Has the southern border been secured? Secretary Noem affirmed that it has, pointing to the efforts under former President Trump, which she says were fast, effective, and strictly enforced. But some lawmakers, she explained, are upset, not necessarily because the border policies were flawed, but because they were implemented successfully. To put this in perspective, the hearing contrasted the current situation with the early days of the Biden administration. According to Noem, when President Biden took office, many of the measures put in place to restrict illegal entry were removed. Lawmakers highlighted the massive increase in border crossings, with estimates suggesting that as many as 20 million people have entered the country illegally since that time. That's roughly the equivalent of adding 10 states the size of Nebraska. Noem criticized what she describes as a shift toward open border policies, suggesting that many Democratic lawmakers and Biden's team prioritized less restrictive entry over traditional border security. She argued that some individuals allowed into the U.S. could include criminals, individuals from other countries' prisons, or even people from mental health facilities, raising concerns about public safety. She also challenged the competence of those currently overseeing border security, implying that officials are restricted from enforcing policies effectively. According to her testimony, this isn't about incompetence, it's about policy choices that she believes prioritize leniency over strict enforcement. One of the more controversial points came when she addressed the idea that vetting at the border could be considered racist. Noem argued that this perspective has influenced policy decisions, leading to immediate parole for many entrants rather than thorough checks, which, in her view, undermines national security. Throughout the hearing, there was a clear underlying question: are current policies a reflection of incompetence or a deliberate political choice to adopt open borders? Noem's position is that it is the latter, and she laid out her concerns for lawmakers and the American public alike. This hearing is more than just a political debate. It's about how the United States balances security, immigration, and humanitarian responsibilities, and the answers are far from simple. Understanding the numbers, the policies, and the perspectives on both sides helps us see the bigger picture of a complex and ongoing issue. If you want more in-depth analysis like this, breaking down the most important political hearings and policy debates so you can stay informed, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell so you don't miss the next breakdown, because these discussions shape the future of the country.